Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Jody B, and this is SEEZ the DAZE. The reason why I am doing this, making this video, is because this is the beginning of my YouTube channel. Actually, we had started it back in the beginning of the pandemic. We had some ideas on alternatives to the norm, what had been going on. Nobody had any science, any guidance, any ideas on what to do at the time, except that we had been shut down on the first list of non-essential workers, and their next advice was that each industry needed to figure out for itself what a safe way of moving forward for themselves is. And so we built a small private studio that's only big enough for ourselves and the client, and we got a bunch of PPE gear, full body suits, face masks, and we began to work in that way as we could. And then the shortages, the store shortages, the first time hit, and just all that time sitting, thinking, weighing, and trying to figure out the truth through all of the confusion, taking care of myself and my wife each had elderly parents with COPD, and we had to figure out how to assist them and to make sure that they were safe. And it was just, a big mess. And so what we thought we were going to do is just work in the private studio and continue to, hold it down that way until whatever, things opened up and whatnot. But then, like I said, the shortages started, and it got us to thinking about, how can we work around the risks of being left in a situation where you don't have access to anything. Say there is no store, or money loses its value and there is no money to buy, even if you saved your whole life and you've got all oodles of green coupons. If nobody want them, then they ain't good for anything. So we started thinking about what the alternatives were, and I started this little experiment and adventure into gardening, into personal farming, self-sustainability. I started getting into worm farming and worm castings just for organic fertilization purposes. And then somewhere along the way they had mentioned that probably 6-8 months ago that gas prices were already so high that the fertilization companies couldn't justify spending the money for the fuel that kept the processing plants going to continue to create the fertilizer that we were going to need. So I also started learning more alternative means of creating my own and our own composts and teas, things to feed feed the plants with. And now here we are, a couple years later, and it's back to more of the same stuff again. And that's exactly why we had started doing that, because it looked like maybe this might not be the end of things, it might be the start of something. So it appears that we've been blessed to have been led in that direction, and we have quite a bit of food growing. We've had it growing for a little over a year now. Well, no, I suppose I started around this time last year. So yeah, 1 year ago we started with absolutely zero knowledge of any kind of plants or growing food or even much houseplants. Well, my wife did some little stuff, a couple of plants here, a couple of plants there, with intermittent success. But through this process, we've discovered all kinds of stuff. And now we have a nice source of food that we are able to have confidence and a little bit of relief from the pressures and anxieties that maybe some people are feeling right now, watching different newses, and they're seeing this and that, and they might be afraid. And so I wanted to do something. Like I said, we'd changed our mind because we had to. With every week, things would change, and we had to continue to change our minds about what we might do, watch and to assess and reassess. And this was something that we knew that we could do for now that would definitely not backfire on us, wouldn't hurt to plant something and see if it grows. So now we've gotten to a place where I'm like in love with growing and farming and planting and the compost and the teas, being self-sustainable. All of that stuff is like a bug, it bit me, and I'm like on it now. And so as I start getting into obsessing over that, and I have my own personal devotion time for the most part each day, it continues to dawn on me that I'm not using this time to plant and to sow seeds and to harvest in the most important places and in the most important ways, which is in relationships with other people and in sharing my faith, my relationship, what I came to discover as what we thought was atheist, is what we were told and what we were raised as. Come to find out, it was more agnostic. And then through life experience, my own personal first-hand experience, God made himself real to me, uninvitedly, against my wishes, and since then I've not been able to deny the fact that he is real. And so I began a search as to what that means. I wasn't raised in the church. I wasn't on that. The idea and the topic was rather uncomfortable, made me aggressive, hostile, sometimes even. And I came from a life where a person can easily, say, if there's a God, well, what about this? And, F God, this and that. And that's exactly the kind of attitude that I had growing up. And then through life circumstances, God presented himself in a way that was undeniable. And maybe we could get into that at some point. But the point is that along with some information that can possibly help you guys, my neighbors, my family members, my friends, anybody who's listening to this, to possibly avoid some of what appears to be a trend in the future, shortages and being out of stuff and things not being available that you need, not only for yourself but for your animals. If you're an animal lover, I'm an animal lover. My cat, in case you didn't notice, paused my feed just a little bit ago. So there's a lot of stuff that just from a realistic and practical point of view, I think I could extend to others that I have learned and could be helpful to them, which is awesome. That'd be great. And then at the same time, more importantly, I'd like to share just a little something, the Bible maybe each day, and maybe some of my experience or experiences that other people might be able to relate with, might be dealing with. I don't have the answers. Like I said, any answers that I give will just be me repeating what the Bible has to say. And that was one of the first things that I learned about the Bible and about learning and about the Word itself, is not to listen to anyone else about what the Bible has to say, to read it for yourself. And it tells you in very specific words that you don't need any man to teach you, that God will send the Holy Spirit to bring to remembrance all of the words, all of the things that Jesus taught while he was here. And that's pretty clear, you know what I mean? And that's how a lot of people get confused and misled about who Jesus is. This dude they call Jesus. There's also a lot of information that people will be able to relate with, that they've already been thinking and having some ideas and having some problems with. There'll be things that I have to say on here that I discovered along the way that are true, that we were thinking that were correct, and there were reasons why we were having issues reconciling the thoughts between what some people taught us or some people said, or what they said that it meant and what it actually is. When you get in there for yourself and get to know it without listening to someone else tell you what it means, and what he said and what he was about and what God's about. He's not about what they say. You can see for yourself, and that's what he asks you to do, is just to look and see. Just take a peek at him and see if he is who he says he is. See if he is somebody that might give you hope. And so that is what I believe my mission now, until I go home to be with the Lord, or he comes to take us with him, or however that works. My mission is to share a little bit each day, or at least every couple of days, and in this way I will seize the days. And I invite anybody, my friends, family, anybody that knows me or doesn't know me, to hop on, take a look, join me whenever I'm on here, and hopefully it's something that you can draw from and be encouraged by, and hopefully it shares the the knowledge and the love, most importantly the love of our Creator. Have a good day.